Good morning, everybody. How we doing? Sammy, United People's TV, here for a busy show. I couldn't go live last night with the Mbeumo announcement, so I was out. I was having dinner at family's house. Anyway, we're going to run through the Mbeumo announcement. He's arrived. That happened last night. And then a big one from David Ornstein this morning with an update on United's plans and targets next after Mbeumo. And I'm telling you what, United want to do it all this summer. United have the ambition to do it this summer. Whether United have got the finances and the capability, that's the question mark. I think previous summers, you question whether United had ambition to do it. I don't really think that's the case this summer. Whether or not we can do it. I'll run through it. We're going to speak about Sesko, speak about Jackson, speak about Watkins, speak about central midfielders, goalkeepers, Højlund's exit, Sancho. I told you it was going to be a busy week, and it's absolutely shaping up to be that way. Today, of course, the team flies out to USA as well. Whew. Let's go. Let's say hello to everyone. Let's get on with the show. You know the drill by now. Please get involved. Fire in your chats, and I'll try and answer as many of you as I possibly can. Gungshi, I can see they're kicking off the show like every good Godfather does. Drop it in 10. Gift them. I'm pretty sure most Godfathers never gifted any memberships. I'm pretty sure he did something very, very different to that. But good morning to you, dude. And you're there as well. Alex and Steph. Josh, you're there too. JC, the hammers are out in the chat today. Keeping it civil, fingers crossed. We've got Warren Saint, we've got Saeed, we've got Prabash, we've got Raoul Su, we've got Mania, Dajbeer, Teklom, Freddie. Let's say hello to some non-members as well. We've got Carl Bowers, we've got King of Dublin, the actual King of Dublin, that's good. Nicholas Bell, we've got Daz, we've got AJ. Good morning to everyone. Have a good day. Have a good day. See ya. I'm off. I was surprised I got here on time this morning. I mean, you might argue it was late, but I would say I start at the same time every day. Haven't even managed to get a haircut yet. Trying to get that later. Let's start off with this, which is, honestly, I would look at this and go, oh my God, I can't believe Chelsea are doing this. But I can. It's just, Chelsea just seemingly have an unlimited amount of money. They really do. The amount, they sell ridiculously well, but Chelsea are now expected to proceed in talks to sign Xavi Simons. You know, what on earth, man? You know, the only thing I find confusing about all of this with Chelsea is if you're a player, why are you joining? Like, seriously. Why are you joining? Yeah, sure, they're in the Champions League next year. Yeah, sure, they've won the Club World Cup. You've got about 400 players that you're competing against. Michael, they're not failing in PSR. We already ran through that. They sold the hotel inside inside the Clear Lake Capital Group. They sold the women's team to themselves, so financially they're totally fine. But the thing I don't get is like, if you're a player, why on earth are you going over there? It's a bit mad. Why on earth would Xavi Simons go there? Money and lifestyle? Maybe I'm just not looking into it enough. I don't know. Right, let's go. This is going to be a big one. Yeah, come on. Let's kick off with this. We waited. And now we've got him. Bryan Mbeumo was announced by Manchester United last night. And you could say this is Captain Hindsight. Throughout this whole Mbeumo deal, anybody who's followed the channel, you know, the only time I panicked was when Newcastle and Forest came in for Vissa. I was like, oh, balls. Ah, dear. That could stop it. The other indirect stuff that affected the transfer, which was part of the whole process, was the Elanga deals, the João Pedro, and the other transfers that just cranked up the price of Mbeumo. And it got ugly, but ultimately, Mbeumo and Cunha are both on the plane today, flying out to USA. They are both there for the full pre-season tour. The game before and after the tour, they're extra games for fitness. The game against Leeds and the game against Fiorentina at Old Trafford. They're there on the plane. And that was the ambition, and that's been achieved, right? Good news. I think it's great news. And it's an improvement on what we're used to. One sec there. Got to make sure that it's going to be a busy show today. Don't want to miss anything. Right, let's run through what the announcement was. Someone down there saying, do I think we'll get Sesko? I've said it here. I've said it 100 times. No, I don't think we get Sesko. I don't think we're interested in Sesko. I don't think we ever... Well, we are interested in Sesko and were interested in Sesko until we found out the price. And then we're like, goodbye, Right, United sign Mbeumo. United is pleased to confirm that he signed until June 2030 with the option to extend 5+1. Kind of standard contract United handed out now. And this is what he said. As soon as I knew there was a chance to join Manchester United, I had to take the opportunity to sign for the club of my dreams. The team whose shirt I wore growing up. Now, look, right. I know you hear this a lot, and it's kind of a default, isn't it, for players? I'm joining my dream club. But I'm not sure if you get the same impression that I do. It really does feel like Mbeumo has joined his dream club. All right? I haven't had time to run through the full article yet. I've only got some brief points on it. But this is a sort of an in-depth inside the Mbeumo to United transfer deal from The Athletic. And something that they make abundantly clear is that Mbeumo himself was quite important in this whole process because of how determined he was to join United. Newcastle, the suggestion is that Brentford were pushing Mbeumo to want to join Newcastle or Spurs because they might be able to get more money from him, but he was like, "No, sod that, man. Like, I'm joining United," right? And I'm not sure if you saw it, but over on Twitter straight away, he's been sat with this like United header in his drafts for like a month. He's like, "Can I change it yet? Can I change it yet? Can I? Is it done yet? Oh, I can't do it. Finally, I can do it." I'm not sure if you've seen it, but that's one of the funniest and strangest sort of goodbye videos you'll ever see. Mbeumo in Interstellar, sitting there looking through his time at Brentford. I don't know who came up with that. I mean, I approve because it's got Hans Zimmer in it, but it's quite funny. But throughout this whole process, it really feels like Mbeumo's determination, like one-track mind to join Manchester United, has been quite important in this whole process. So big up to him. Jason Wilcox down here speaking about him as well. He goes, "Oh, this is more from Mbeumo. My mentality is to always be better than I was yesterday. I know that I have the spirit and character to reach another level here and learning from Ruben Amorim and playing alongside world-class players." But he probably comes in as one of the best players, let's be honest. Everybody told me about the environment that's been created here and how exciting that. And I'm told you, like, this sentence right here has been said by, I think, every signing under Ineos so far. And I don't know whether it was said before or not. I haven't paid enough attention. So maybe my sample size is too small. Everybody told me about the environment that is being created here and how exciting the plans are for the future. And like, as frustrated as we always are as fans, delays and time, etc., it really does feel that Wilcox and Barada and United's footballing structure are able to tell and convince players about the vision that this club is on. It really does feel that way. It really does. Jason Wilcox down here talking about his goals and assists in the Premier League being exceptional. And I've already told this to you, but I'll say it again. Tomorrow, we've got, I would probably say it's going to be one of my favourite little mini docs that we do. We've done a mini doc on how Fergie used to go out and sign the best from the Premier League and how it feels like that is clearly a strategy that United have adopted this summer. The United strategy, transfer strategy, is two-pronged. Number one, it's about finding the best youngsters to develop them. Diego Leon, Sekou Kone, you could say Chido, Obi, and Aiden Heaven if you wanted to, but that's kind of domestic. That's slightly different. But I suppose kind of falls into the same emerging talent category. That's one side of it. And the other side of it, they've just gone out and signed quality that exists in the Premier League. No question marks about adaptation, no question marks about anything. Just excellent players straight off the bat. I'm telling you, I'm not going to check out. But if Cunha and Mbeumo end up flopping in the way that other players I've been excited about coming into Manchester United flop, I will be stunned into silence. I do not think they will. And I think that's why United have gone after them. It's kind of why we went after Liam Delap as well. They wanted to bring in quality from the Premier League. And it's that balance between, you know how Amram has always said, I know I need patience and time, but I'm not going to just get that. I need to get results. This is how you get results in the short term whilst building for the long term. Short term, Premier League proven. Long term, emerging talents. Combine those two things, you start building a squad. He's got number 19, which we always knew about. Let's go down and read some of your chats. Do you see that Mbeumo after the move was confirmed dancing on a car park and shaking Biss's hand? I have no idea what you're talking about, Wayne. Absolutely no idea what you're talking about. Taruk saying literally just want us to compete. We can overanalyze all we want and make sure we have department, but we need a competing team. Dude, I've sort of that's all I want this season. My ambitions this season are nothing to do with silverware. And I swear to God, they're nothing to do with silverware. All I want this season is not to be on a roller coaster. So I'm bored of getting like G4 sickness every week from watching United being great and then just being crap and then being even worse. I mean, pretty decent again, then being worse. Just give me just a straight 6 out of 10 every week. We'll probably lose to some teams because we're only a 6 out of 10, but it's fine. You play like a 6, just consistent every week. And players like these, I think, do it. Rex, you're getting annoyed with me. Don't jinx it, Sam. Hey, look, I know don't jinx it, Sam, but it just feels like this is why we've gone after these players. A bit of signing some Premier League proven quality will bring you some consistency, right? Will bring you some stability in the levels of performances. And Mbeumo strikes me as someone who's going to really be a cracking signing for us. Just score goals and be competitive consistently. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Mr. Smith going to see some on-field nastiness. Yeah, everyone loves a good bit of shithousery. Everyone loves it, right? And this is something that lots of you, me included, have been calling for a long time, right? The concept that Manchester United's wage structure is heavily incentive-based on performances. That's how all contracts for footballers should be, if I'm being completely honest. Oh, yeah, you can earn the big bucks, man. I mean, you can have a good base salary. If you really want to earn the big bucks, succeed. There you go. You do that. We won the Champions League. Well, there you go, man. Massive bonus for you. Won the Premier League. Won both. Even more. United have handed out too much too easily to too many players. That's been the issue. So this here is exactly what we need. That is a big part of the culture. The culture of Manchester United has been, I wouldn't say ever since Alexis Sanchez, but that was the one that sort of was the nuke that exploded in our club. After that point, people knew that they could just get the money and then go, well, you're just going to get paid anyway, so. It's like if you're at work, I think I was just use this analogy. If you're at work, right, and you know that if you put in, you know that you can put in like 40% like effort levels and you get the same salary. Or you could put up like 95% effort levels. You're there staying late, you're going in early, you're doing it, and you're going to get the same salary at the end of it. After a month of doing it, you're going to be like, hey, what's the point? Why am I going to like kill myself to get the exact same salary? I may as well just put in the minimum requirements. Going to get the same money anyway. That's what United's culture has been like in terms of player contracts and incentivization. That needs to be shifted. That sounds like exactly what is happening with Mbeumo. And that's exciting. I'm looking forward to it. You're looking forward to it. What we're saying down here. Rex is saying, from what I can see, when a new player signs, they start off very well, get an injury and then struggle. Amram needs to break that cycle. I mean, I wouldn't say that's a guaranteed site. You could probably go Bruno would be one that immediately comes to mind straight away. But rarely, I would say rarely, do United signings come and sort of hit the ground running and just kind of hold that. Not saying it's impossible, but I'm saying they're more anomalies than anything else. I like to think that's what Mbeumo is going to be. And that's what Cunha's going to be. Not expecting him to pull up trees and put him like 20 goals and 20 assists. But if both of them can get into double figures for goals and assists next season, Cunha getting 10 goals, 10 assists, and Mbeumo the same, class. Class. Terry saying, I think it will be a throwback season along the lines of we will score one more than you. Some of United's, I say easiest, but last season United were much more comfortable sitting in a deep block. We know that. Amram was a bit annoyed about it because, well, they're more comfortable there, so sometimes you've got to do it. I'll be interested to see if we approach the big games like Liverpool and City and Arsenal away in that same style this season, or whether we do try and go more on the front foot. Because ultimately, Amram wants to go into those games on the front foot and United being the dominant team. There's a process to get to that point. If last season was to sit back and just defend, and it worked in those games, actually had good results against them, maybe in these games this season, with the likes of Cunha and Mbeumo and whoever else comes in, we can go on the front foot a bit more. But look, right, Mbeumo's in. I'm excited. You're excited. And we immediately move on to speak about what's coming next. Now, I did my video yesterday, third in the preseason series, just sort of what to look out for in the preseason tour. I spoke about keep an eye on the back three partnerships and like who plays, because you had Yoro playing on the right and Heaven playing on the left, and Maguire in the middle in the second half against Leeds. First half was De Ligt in the middle, Mazraoui, I think, on the right, and Luke Shaw on the left. So there's going to be a lot of chopping and changing. But anyway, the team flies out in the preseason tour, and that's happening today. So we're going to... There's just been an announcement from United on what's happening with Eli Harrison, which we already spoke about yesterday. He won't be on the tour because he's now being confirmed as going on loan. So last season, if I remember correctly, he was on loan at Chester, which was National League level, and now he's gone to Shrewsbury, League 2 level, and he's working with Michael Appleton. And the fact that he's working with Michael Appleton, a former United player who was in talks to become our loan manager before he went back into management, should mean that that's actually a loan which is better managed. So there's going to be probably a loan spell for Harry and Mass as well. But now we speak about what's next. And this is what I mean. Look, do I think United will definitely pull all this off? No. No. Just no. I really hope we do. But they're going to have their work cut out for it. Now, David Ornstein is giving a really big update on basically what else is going to be happening for United this summer, right? The transfer focus now is on areas including number 9, recent inquiries for Ekitike and Gyökeres, talking about Sesko, Watkins and Jackson being on the list but not actively pursuing because of the prices. Let me run through and discuss this. Now, Toby, you're saying still a bit bummed that we missed out on Richard Rios from, what's his face? Palmeiras, I think it was. Unfortunately, it's just simply due to timings. It's due to what United can commit and what United can't commit. What United can commit, we've just committed. Cunha and Mbeumo. Now, we have got some money in, of course, remember. We've now saved, I think it's £12.5 million from Rashford's wages. That's a big saving in terms of PSR. We've got money from Oyedele. We've got money from Carreras. And we've got money from Ilanga. Good money. Sancho I'll speak about next. But this is the latest from Ornstein on sort of targets and conversations, all right? I'm going to run through all of this. Attention turns to strengthening the squad further for United, and the main positions are in attack, defensive midfield, and goalkeeper. And sort of, Ornstein mentions a few of the names down here. United tried to enter the race for Ekitike last week, but he'd already gone to Liverpool. And Ekitike, I don't think was ever really on the list for United. In the same way, I don't think Sesko was ever on. They were on the list until we were told the price. And then they weren't on the list. And it's why the Sesko story, it's like, why is anyone getting excited about Sesko? When you know full well that Arsenal didn't sign him because it was too much. Anyway, United also inquired to Victor Gyökeres, but he chose Arsenal. So both of those players, they wanted to go elsewhere and they were too much money. Sesko, Watkins and Jackson are names that feature on recruitment lists at many leading clubs, and each has been recently linked with United. Talks have taken place about that trio, which is normal, but they are not actively being pursued due to the costs. That can change if their prices come down. However, United are placing greater emphasis on alternatives. So, effectively, this here today ends the conversation around Sesko, around Watkins, and around Jackson, unless the prices change. Now, with Sesko, I don't think that's possible. I think Leipzig feel that's how much he's worth. It strikes me that Leipzig will just price him out of a move this summer. He'll stay at the Bundesliga. And in the exact same fashion as Osimhen was priced out of a move from Napoli for 120 mil, then he went on loan and now they sold him for 75. I think Sesko's going to end up leaving Leipzig next summer for less than what they've tried to get for him this summer. That's my prediction. Watkins, we kind of know what the price is on Watkins. When the first stories first came out, Arsenal tried to sign him in January for 40 mil, but Villa actually wanted 60. And it sounds like that's around about the price that Villa want for Watkins this summer, which is just never going to happen. It's never going to happen, all right? But does anyone need a laugh this morning? Because I'm about to give you one. I cracked up when I saw this. When I read this, I was like, that's come from Cavi Solihull from Sky. Chelsea value Nicholas Jackson at between 80 to 100 mil. It's still making me laugh. They're using the 79 million Liverpool are paying for Hugo Ekitike as a benchmark. So how are you using Nico Jackson as a benchmark to a player who's better than him and then deciding that Nico Jackson's worth more than him? It just makes you laugh. Just transfers are just nuts. Like, money is just nuts. I kind of stand by the fact that I don't think Nico Jackson would be as bad a signing as a lot of United fans are making out. But I wouldn't really invest much into him. It's just hilarious, that idea. It really is. So, Sesko, Watkins, and Jackson are sort of off the cards. So my question to you here, and hey, look, I was talking with the research team this morning. I was like, look, lads, so we've got Sesko, Jackson, and Watkins. They're all unlikely to happen now because of the price. Can you do a bit of research into what strikers would be available in the, I don't know, you'd probably go around 30 mil range. Probably. Realistically, around the 30 mil range. Kind of where we were going to pay for Liam Delap. And the market's thin. The market's weak. If I was to put a prediction on a striker signing this window now, I think it's either got to be that Villa drop the price on Watkins or we loan a striker. It feels like that's kind of what it feels like to me. I don't want United to go into the market. Like, you could speak about Mateta, right? Mateta, you know, is going to be 50 mil. You know it, right? Now, there is a possibility that something like that happens if we sell Rasmus Højlund. Now, that's going to be a difference maker, right? You got David Ornstein here saying there is a very good chance that Højlund moves on from United this summer. And that's going to be pretty much the difference maker in the level of striker that we can get. If we sell Højlund this summer, but that's what I mean, we sell him. We don't loan him out. We get money in for Højlund and we sell him and we get cash in. It kind of changes what we can get. You might be able to get Mateta. You might be able to get Watkins. I know it's a big if, but this is the if. This is what I mean about United's ambitions, and I question whether they're actually possible. But they've got the ambition to do it. It's just they've got to somehow find buyers for these players and buyers for Højlund. If you find a buyer for Højlund, then these names here that are on that list, maybe they're more of a conversation. I still think Sesko you're just going to be outpriced on. Watkins is definitely a possibility. And Jonathan, there's a question, again, that I've been asked in the research team in terms of what strikers could we loan. That's something that we're going to look into. But right now, I think there's too many variables for a video to really hold any purpose, because we need to find out what goes on now with Højlund. So we've definitely reached a point in the window where sales are required for more movement. Now, we're going to be putting the feelers out. So we're going to get linked with players and we're going to speak about players, etc. But I wouldn't really expect a bid from United on a player. Not anytime soon. Watch me be spectacularly wrong on that. You might get me. It may be different on the goalkeeper. I'll speak about sending them on. Let me see what you're saying down here in the chat. Mwani or Ramos, Sesko wants United. So, 90 mil. Doesn't matter if he wants United. Honestly, Sesko, you'd have to go half that price. Somewhere between 40 and 50 mil for United to go after Sesko. There's absolutely no way we'll go at that level. And look, a little bit more from from Laurie Whitwell on the striker situation. The cost of signing Sesko due to the fee inevitably demanded by Leipzig, plus his wages, is deemed incompatible with United's budget and his performances in the Bundesliga last season. Like, you want to talk about risky signings. Spending 90 mil on Sesko would be the biggest risk you could ever take. Absolutely. Someone down there saying, where are you getting 90 mil from Sesko? Because I'm pretty sure that is exactly what was sort of quoted around Sesko when Arsenal were going after him, which is exactly why they moved on and went somewhere else. Someone down there, well, I feel like we should try out Visser. Well, you really want to deal with Brentford again? Hell no. Hell no. Mateta would be deep. Let me just quickly have a little opinion from everyone down here. Right, let me get a picture up. Because I want to get everyone's take on this player, right? Come on, load and cue. What does everyone think of Mateta? As a player, I'm curious as to where you stand on him. What is he, 27? He's somebody who could definitely have the hold-up play. He's got goals in him. He's played in a back three system under Glasner. He's Premier League proven. He's experienced. I think there's a lot to like about Mateta. I really do. I think whether or not you prefer Watkins is kind of a debate. I think basically the price is going to be what rules you out, really, of Mateta. He's 28, 27, 28. He's there or thereabouts. I think if United had a front three next season of Cunha and Mbeumo and Mateta, I'd definitely take him. But I'm going to put you down just as a curious little poll question, right? If you had to choose. Don't ask me about the prices, etc., because that's not really what the question is. I imagine both players would end up being near enough the same amount. Who would you choose between Watkins and Mateta? I really don't know. Oh, that's a reason not to sign him. Just sort of Cunha Mateta. Oh my God, I can just imagine those Lion King chants. He does fit the beard profile. It's very good, Robert. That's a big tick there. It's a great point there. Mateta would probably cost less than Watkins. I'm not really sure about that. I really am not. Either way, I find it strange that some people are turning their nose. It's not many, I'll be honest, but I find it strange that I see some United fans turning their nose up at the idea of signing Mateta. I really do. Whether or not you prefer Watkins is a different conversation. But now I've put this. I'm going to leave that poll there. Let's see what the poll's saying straight away. 500 votes are in, and it is legitimately slap bang in the middle. Oh no, 51-49 for Watkins. It's on the fence, right? Now, I've done this in rather large letters. Another number 6 deep line midfielder is on the Old Trafford agenda. Please. Please. You know how much... It's just like me a few years ago, how desperate I was for us to sign a central midfielder. Kind of feels like I'm in the same situation again now. We need one. NEED, capital letters, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. Now, in terms of the actual level of signing we can make here, we can't sign Mbeumo. I think even if we were to sell, I don't think we can sign Mbeumo. Rex, you're saying they've given up on Ugarte. Ugarte has qualities, but in terms of the deep-lying midfielder, you need... Well, in an idea, that's why João Neves was signed by PSG, because he has the quality in possession and out of possession. Ugarte doesn't have that. You don't really want Ugarte receiving the ball from the two centre-backs. That's the midfielder that we need. And like, as I said, if you could wave a magic wand and you had all the money in the world, you'd probably go after Mbeumo, right? You probably would. But we don't. But that's the sort of athletic midfield number 6 profile that Ruben Amorim will want. I think, anyway. Yep. Ugarte does do exactly what we bought him for. And he's good at it. Would I say that Mbeumo's the most comfortable receiving the ball from his two centre-backs? Maybe, maybe not. Either way, this is going to be the one that I'm keeping the closest eye on this summer. I don't know exactly what that profile is going to be, because even a deep-lying number 6 midfielder, you can get different forms, different shapes and sizes. One that's really athletic and strides, and one that's sort of a lower, you know, like a Caicedo or a Mbeumo. I kind of think that's probably where United are looking at. Sanderberg. Believe in Sekou Kone. Onana's a good option. Look, I think this is going to be one where United get creative. It would strike... Look, a couple of you mentioned Hayden Hackney down there. That's possible. That is possible, I think. But it just strikes me as this is a position where I think United could get creative in different markets, and maybe names that no one's really mentioning get pulled out. Someone's saying Zubimendi would have been ideal. Yeah, Zubimendi would have been a class signing. Let's be totally honest. There's so many names getting thrown in here. We don't quite know, but it's just good to see that a deep-lying number 6 is on the agenda. United want one. Striker, a number 6, and a goalkeeper. They're the 3 signings. That's the plan for United this summer. That's the ambition for United this summer. United aren't sitting there going, we made 2 signings. Right, well, let's see if we can send anybody else now. That'll probably be us done. No. United, we've got 2 signings. We want 3 more. Boom, a striker. Boom, a central defensive midfielder. Boom, a goalkeeper. Now, in order to be able to achieve those ambitions, we're going to have to sell. The plan is there. Whether or not it goes through remains to be seen. But the plan is there. A little bit more from Laurie Whipple on it down here as well. United have looked at several midfielders, with Amorim wanting the position strengthened, but conversations are at a preliminary stage. So that's where they're at right now, and it's probably why we've not really heard much about the midfield signing. That could be one that happens far closer to the start of the season, maybe even after the start of the season. I mean, ideally not, but United are bottlenecked by sales now. Have we always been bottlenecked by sales this summer? I think there was a point where I questioned whether United even had enough money to sign Mbeumo, but I think that's kind of proven to be the case that we did, unless the money came in from Elanga and Alvaro and Oyedele, and that was used towards the Mbeumo deal. But remember, Mbeumo was done in, we think, 4 installments. When we don't know what the split of the installments are, because a lot of times you get a top-heavy installment, don't you? So say it was, what was it, 65 mil? divided by 4, and you go, I don't know, you pay the first one as like 25, and then the other 40 is split over 3, so it's a little bit less. We don't know exactly that. Quite a few of you mentioning Hackney, Palhinha, Gabriel Sara, Mateus Fernandes from Southampton, Owen Hargreaves. There's a lot more names that you could throw at me now in terms of central midfield than you could probably throw at me from a striker's perspective. It's a bigger market. I do need a haircut, Pete. It's shocking. What is this? What is this? Shocking. It's not even that long. I just don't really like. I'm a bit lazy on my hair. Anyone else the same? So I can't be bothered to just like. Even that's too much. Anyway, let's leave it up there. I look a bit crazy now. Sam on the first day of the transfer window versus Sam on the last day of the transfer window. And in terms of a goalkeeper, right? Beep, 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 beep. I was going to do the full story on Le Mans yesterday. I'll probably do it slightly later in the week, but there will be one. Because today, I'm going to have a full run-through of United's plans and ambitions from Ornstein and maybe name a couple of players per position and a little bit more detail than I've done in today's show. And then 7 p.m. tonight, we're going to have a little half-edited video on youngsters and ones you should be looking out for this season and in the pre-season tour. So that's a double drop for today. Tomorrow, there'll be another double drop because we've got a Fergie mini-doc going out on the playbook of signing Premier League players. I've been looking forward to dropping that one. And we've had that ready for another month as well, by the way. We sat on the Brian and Mbeumo profile and this Fergie playbook for a bloody month. We're getting there, right? You've got reports out in Belgium saying that there is a good chance United's official bid will arrive soon, and they're saying in the region of 13 to 17 million pounds. Because when it comes to the goalkeeper, United have kind of got two options. Right? Two options. Number one, United sign an experienced, basically like a kind of a number one goalkeeper now. That would be your Emi Martinez level. Or number two, you sign a player like Senny Lamont, who definitely has the capability of being a number one, but would ultimately come in and kind of compete for the spot. And then maybe put in a performance or two, and then across the course of the season ends up taking the number one spot. It's possible. So they're the two different levels of signings. Of course, Emi Martinez would therefore invariably be more expensive. So it strikes me that this is probably where United are going to go. It's a signing which may or may not work out. You could say the same thing for Emi Martinez, but he's got the Premier League experience. So at that price, right, just in any player really, at that price, I don't think you can ever complain. At that price, you're never going to be stung beyond belief. At that price, it might work. And if it does work, class, man. You've identified a gem. Someone's ringing the front door. Stay outside. Stay outside, I'm busy. But yeah, at that price, you can't really, even if it fails, you'll be able to sell that player for 5-odd mil, and you're not going to give him mega wages, right? Someone talking about John Victor and the release clause. As far as I know with John Victor, he's far more likely to be a replacement for Bayende than he is to be a goalkeeper signed to compete with Onana. And at this moment in time, I've heard absolutely sweet FA on Bayende, right? Yeah, and it's exactly what I think. I think Le Mans will come in, be told that he's second choice, but ultimately he will get opportunities. He wouldn't be second choice like Bayende and just get one sniff here or there. I think he would get chances. Probably get quite a few cup games, actually. And if you prove yourself there, then go through. But of course, a big part of this, actually, no, let me go back to that because I left the vote up there. I asked you if you had to choose, right? If you had to choose between Watkins or Mateta, who would you go for? 53%. We've got 1,500 votes are in. 53% of you are saying Watkins. So just about a win for Watkins there. I'm glad it wasn't a landslide, if I'm honest. So I'm glad that the community down here is I would take him, but I'd also take him. So I think Mateta would be a good signing. Be interested to know which one would be more expensive. It feels like Crystal Palace would have more leverage in negotiations over United trying to sign Mateta than Villa would in United trying to sign Watkins. I just get the feeling that this season Villa are going to... They've been on a bit of a high these last few seasons, but I feel like their spending has caught up to them. And have Villa even signed anyone this summer? I can't even remember. But it feels like they might be reaching a bit of a plateau and an interesting sort of shift. That's my prediction. Which, of course, is going to be spectacularly wrong. Watch them finish third. That's what happens when Sam predicts things. Now, why is it that United's players who aren't in the team are called a bomb squad? First of all. Right? And you're saying Watkins got 3 years left on his deal, Mateta's got 1. Okay, well, there you go. That's definitely part of the conversation. Did they have a +1 on Mateta? That could be important. If not, more leverage there. Let's find out. I'm not doing a buzz cut, right? Last time I had a buzz cut, it was not a good day. It was an accidental buzz cut. Anyway, speaking about United's bomb squad, the players that aren't going to be on the pre-season tour today, you can see when a brief comes out, by the way, because the exact same headline comes from James Ducker in the Telegraph and Chris Wheeler in the Daily Mail. It's always fun when you can sort of like spot the briefs. You can see which journalists have got sources at Manchester United directly when articles go out at the same time. A bit like yesterday when, like, at the time when this article was dropped by The Athletic, I think the BBC, Simon Stone, Rob Dawson from ESPN were talking about how Brentford kept moving the goalpost. They actually had a final offer of 70 million plus 7, and that's how high they went to. And United were pissed off that they kept moving the goalpost, etc., etc. It's always fun watching a brief. Anyway, the bomb squad, right? Let me give you the latest on that. And you may or may not have seen this from Duncan Castles yesterday, who somehow is coming out of the woodwork. Juventus is close to signing Jadon Sancho. The deals for 20 million euros, achievable add-ons. David Ornstein saying that Jadon Sancho is not close to joining Juventus. Bar humbug. Bar bloody humbug. It was 2 weeks ago when I did a video saying it feels like there's finally some movement going on with Jadon Sancho and Juve and the idea that he might be taking a wage cut, etc., etc., etc. Fuck's sake. Piss off. Piss off. You just can't trust him. Just can't trust anything to do with him. So, truth be told, I don't actually know what's going on with Sancho. Is he close? Is it? DiMarzio's been saying he's been close for a long time, but DiMarzio feels like I don't know. It feels like he's kind of fallen off a little bit. Don't really know what to say about Sancho anymore. He needs to take a wage cut, and United probably need to agree to pay that severance package, which is where we were last time. But Ornstein saying it's not close as of yet. Yeah. Harder to get rid of than Thrush. Can't use no cream for Sancho. That rash isn't going away. And you're asking, if there is no deal for Sancho, do we just keep him or pay off his contract? Well, I think we're just going to pay off his contract. I imagine that severance... I don't know. I've got no idea. Sancho's got 1 year left on his deal, right? And this is where every contract's different, and we can't know it unless we read Sancho's contract, which we have no access to. But there will be a penalty clause in there, sort of a termination clause. They're saying if either party probably want to terminate by X date, then X has to happen. And maybe United have got a termination clause in there where we pay 50% of the contract and he can terminate it. It's possible, but United want some cash for bloody Sancho this summer. That's what United want. You know what we spoke about a while ago? It really does feel that Jadon Sancho's priority is to make sure that he goes into next summer as a free agent in the market. That's what it feels like there's been the driving force. And if Sancho is still not close to joining Juventus, it kind of feels like more evidence towards that being the case. Let's find out. As it stands, no here we go on Sancho. I wonder, is it here we go on Sancho? Or I might have to pop a bottle, man. Pop a bottle. Let your body wobble. This from James Duckup from the Telegraph saying, look, Garnacho's suitors believe he could be signed for around 40 mil this summer. We spoke about this yesterday. I said, honestly, it feels like United are probably going to be willing to sell for 30 to 35. And that's why I went and held these headlines here saying United are open to lower fees. And compromise has been the big buzzword, man. With sales this summer, Manchester United are having to compromise. Are we getting lowballed with offers for the players that we are trying to sell? Yeah, we are. But in two scenarios where, one, you remain stubborn and then you just hold on to the players that you didn't get the fees that you know you should be getting, but you can't, so you hold on to them. Or number two, you just accept a lower fee and the player goes. You know which is better for Amorim. You know which is better for the squad. Accepting lower fees, swallowing your pride, saying, well, we're not making that mistake again in the future. And it sounds like that's what United may well be doing with Garnacho. I imagine if that happens, slap a really big sell-on clause onto it, and you can probably mitigate some of those problems further down the line if Garnacho does go and nail it somewhere else, that we get a big percentage of the sell-on. I think that's where the compromise is going to be. Lower fees up front, add a sell-on clause. Because you know full well that Garnacho's worth more than that, but I know full well you're just going to take the piss out of me this summer. So let's find a compromise here, right? 30 to 40 mil with as big a sell-on percentage as we can possibly get. That is what I imagine happens with Garnacho, right? And now, I've seen kind of loads of things around this. Rashford's option being 35 mil, but that's the opposite of what Laurie Whitwell's reported. More than once in The Athletic, we go back to here. Shubba-da-boop, shubba-da-boop, bap-a-dibba-doop. I don't know where in the article it is. Is it up here? No. Oh, there you go. Barcelona have a €30 million option to make Marcus Rashford's loan spell permanent. So that's from The Athletic and Laurie Whitwell. You got different ones saying otherwise, but just going to probably believe Laurie Whitwell and The Athletic. So it sounds like €30 million is what we're getting for him. And then this is the first time I've seen a number related to how much we're going to save in wages. That's a lot. I don't think I had to be the one to tell you that. But that's more money than we're going to save more money on Rashford's wages, or around about the same, if I'm being honest, than we are getting from the sell-on clauses of Alvaro to Real Madrid, 50 mil, and Elanga to Newcastle, 55 mil. That is how much we're saving on Rashford's wages. That's how big his wages are to this football club. That's how important it was that he moved on from this football club. So Rashford leaving, just from the wages perspective, is worth a couple of pretty damn decent sell-on clauses. So United are actually getting money in this summer. We haven't made any money directly from a player sale, but from sell-on clauses and wages saved, our PSR position is getting stronger. The amount that we can invest is getting stronger. Yep, and Shiva, absolutely. We get a similar saving next summer when Casemiro leaves, which is exactly why I kept saying I wanted Manchester United to sell Casemiro this summer. I wanted to move him on and to reinvest that money. But no one's really been interested in him. And I hope that we can see for the whole of next season, and then we shake his hand and say goodbye. That's what I wanted to do this summer. But I hope that we can see him play like he did in those last few games in the Europa League. Because I was like, well, that's a much better player. We saved around about the same, if not a little bit more, on Casemiro leaving. And Sancho, a little bit less than that, but still some serious wedge. And Luke Shaw as well. Bloody wages. Nuts wages we've handed people. Mud. Right. Last couple minutes of the show. Fire any questions. Anything in the chat you don't think I've spoken about enough or anything else you want to ask me, fire it in. This is the headline for today's show, and it's going to be today's lunchtime video. I'll run through that in a bit more detail and maybe pick out some players that we could speak about in each position. Kite Boy is saying he'll stay so he can play for Brazil in the World Cup. Should mean that we get a better version of Casemiro, so he's ready for the World Cup, because this is his last hurrah, really. This season is Casemiro's last season. Well, it should have been last season, because we should have sold him. But now it looks like it's going to be his last season playing at the elite level with the World Cup at the end of it. And he'll want to go out on high, and he's a sort of competitive monster that hopefully will be able to find something in him that drives him. But if the game keeps getting as fast as it's getting, it's just going to be played around him, unfortunately. What's the average wing speed velocity of a swallow? It's a good question there. Who do I think is going to be ready to step up from the academy now? Well, going to have to check out the video. It's going out at 7 p.m. tonight. We just ran through a list. Actually didn't mention Jaden Camerson in that one because you've got Bendito Mantato. So I think if you're going to be looking at one to come into that right wing back position, it looks like it's Mantato. Bianchetti we haven't actually spoken about either. Playing once a week will help Casemiro, says Carl. I hope so. What about the TikTok account? I've been commenting on the videos. Thank you very much, Kelly. Still up. Still a bastard. But you can see here that what we started to do was we're saying, well, screw you then. If you're going to steal our videos, we're just going to put our videos up instead. That one there got, oh, look, 60K. People enjoyed that. We had some really nice comments on it. It's just, I would never normally post an entire video, which is an 8-minute video that we've worked hard on, onto TikTok, which is short form content. I've never cracked the short form content. I'll be honest. I've never done it in a sustainable way that doesn't take up loads of my time to, I'll change this, change that, change this headline, change that headline. Just never been able to do it consistently because it's very difficult. That's all. And I'll be honest, I don't really like short form content. How many shirts do I own? That many. That many. Might have to move my Cantona shrine. Might have to move it around. Maybe get the new kits up there. Don't quite know. Should we go in for Burnley's Trafford? Nah, I don't think so. I don't think so. Mitch saying, any chance you're hiring researchers? We're always bringing in, look, when it comes to the researching in a team, it always begins in an unpaid role. But if you can prove yourself and you really do help the team in the research we're doing, then we create paid roles off the back of it. So if you want to, email sam@unitedpeoples.tv. You seem to be a fan of Bruno. Don't you think that with an all-action central midfielder, he will be a liability? I understand that there are grievances that people have with Bruno. I really, really do. And that's why I think, like, when it comes to this central midfield signing, I honestly think you have to sign somebody who is geared to being the perfect partner for Bruno, because he's so good at creating that you have to look at the weaknesses of Bruno's game and go, okay, well, then if this and this and this and this are the weaknesses of Bruno's game, then we need a midfielder to do all these things. And that there is probably the right profile for us to sign. All right. Thank you all for tuning in. Appreciate all your comments. Anybody who's down there spamming, you're not going to get read out. You're also going to get your comments deleted. See you later, Nathan. Thanks very much, Josh. If you are new, please do subscribe to United People's TV. Might get a haircut today. Might keep it. Why not? Today's a double drop. 12 p.m. Going to be doing the video on plans for the rest of the summer. 7 p.m. on the youngsters. And then tomorrow, probably another double drop. It's a busy week. Told you it was going to be a busy week. All right. Take it easy, everyone. Much love.